Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monday Report. I'm your host, as always, Dan Goyette, and as always, manning the studio with me this morning is the incomparable Frank T. Rex, my cohort, as always. So, we're just going to do a quick check to make sure that we are broadcasting in all the places we're supposed to be broadcasting. And we are live and broadcasting. So, as always, the Monday Report is being brought to you by the North American Hypnotherapy Guild. There's the QR code. Be sure to scan it. Check it out at the North American Hypnotherapy Guild.com for all the great things happening in the world of hypnosis. And as always, being brought to you by Hypnosis Today magazine, your source for all the things happening in the world of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. There's the QR code up there on the screen. Check it out. Be sure to scan it and subscribe to be in the know. And hey, why don't you hop on over and check out our YouTube channel on the Monday Report right there on YouTube. So, and we'll see if we are broadcasting live on YouTube today. So, and see what's going on there. And we are broadcasting on YouTube today as well. So we had a little problem with that last time, but we are doing it. So here we go, guys. What are we talking about today? Well, today we're going to be talking about a couple things. So first, I would like to start with, drum roll, please. There's no drum roll. But there is no surprise and no secret to let you know that the fall and winter conference season is coming. And as a matter of fact, it's already started with the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference coming up September 11th to the 13th at the Hollywood Greek Casino in Greektown, Michigan. It is going to be a great time. Joni Knighty is our kickoff opening speaker for that, and we are looking forward to it. Now, from there, it doesn't end. The season continues in Toronto, Canada, with the Canadian Hypnosis Conference, and finishing the season strong in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the Performing Hypnosis Summit at the Gold Coast Casino. So it's not just coming to a conference, it's being connected throughout the conference season, starting in Michigan, continuing the conversation, in Toronto, and ending the season strong in Las Vegas at the Performing Hypnosis Summit. 3 cities, 1 great experience. So check it out. Be there and be part of it. What else do we have going on? Okay, I want to spend just a few minutes checking and talking about how we view travel, especially with the conference season coming up. How do I want to say this? Traveling to a conference, 1 or more, can be fun. And what do I mean by that? We have to stop thinking, and I'm guilty of this. I'm going to say I'm guilty of it too, but we've got to switch our thinking from, oh, I have to pay this much money just to get to the conference, to the travel being part of that professional investment. We've got to start looking at that as part of the professional investment, and just being there and understanding what's going on. Somebody beeped in, but I don't see them. Oh, there they are. Connie Jo Holmes. So we got to think about that, right? It's not $800 to just get there with hotel and food, and that's part of the professional investment as well. So shifting how we think about traveling the conference season becomes more and more important. I'm guilty of it too. I've often said, oh man, I've got to spend this much money just to get to the conference. Well, no, because guess what? That becomes a write-off as well. It's part of the investment. I'm going to be taking off the airfare, the hotel, meals, Uber rides, all that stuff is coming off my taxes. All that stuff is not just a travel expense. It is an investment in my own professional well-being, my own professional career. So we've got to start looking at that not as a penalty, but as a total trip investment in our own professional selves. So that being said, I just wanted to put that out there, and there's going to be more on it. As a matter of fact, we actually did a report. Not a report. We did an article, on the Monday Report. If you go to hypnosistodayMagazine.com, check the newsroom, you're going to see that article, read it, understand it, and be part of it. Like I said, you know what? I'm just as guilty as anybody. But that being said, our guest has chimed in, the amazing Connie Jo Holmes, who just finished the first annual Midwest podcast conference. So without any ado, we're going to bring her on. Connie!
Hello. How you doing?
I am doing well. I was just talking about reshaping or rethinking, as a hypnotist would. We need to reframe this. And I'm guilty of this. And I don't know if you are. Conference travel, hitting that conference season, the winter and fall season, we often tend to think of, oh, well, the ticket's only $200 for the conference. Oh, man, but I got to spend $700 to get there. Instead of going, you know what? That's part of the professional investment. I've been thinking that in my own mind as well, because it really is part of an investment in yourself.
100%. And yeah, and it's a write-off, right? I mean, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's a great, I think I don't know if I may have told you the story. I was at Hypno Thoughts Live in Las Vegas. I think it was my second time being there. And I was talking to you know what? I'll never remember, but I always remember the look on their face. And I said, yeah, it's kind of weird that I get to come to Las Vegas and take all this off my taxes. And he looked at me like, what? So right. It had never broached. It was somebody from Michigan. I can't remember who it was. But he had never thought about it, so.
Even your mileage driving to the airport, if you fly, even the mileage driving to the airport is a write-off. I have so much write-offs in my mileage because I do a lot of networking. I'm part of BNI. So every week I'm driving into the meeting and it's amazing. Can I share something that I think might be helpful for a lot of people?
You certainly may.
So have you ever read the book Profit First?
No, I have not.
So it's Mike Michalowicz. I killed his last name, but it's under Profit First. His first name is Mike, and his last name starts with an M. It's a long name. So his theory is almost like hours in the day. You make room for what's important, and so the same with our pay, right? And so he really talks about it, how your profit and not your pay, but your profit, because we should profit as business owners, right?
Oh, yeah.
That actually needs to be allocated into almost your expenses up front so that you can always ensure that you have a profit. I did not say that very well. My point of saying this is, can I explain to you how I run it? Because it has been a lifesaver. So I never worry about when tax time comes, like, oh, do I have money for taxes? Because every time I pay myself, I have slid money over into my tax account. So for me, all of my money that comes in, so I just had the Midwest Podcast Conference. So we had a little bit of money that came in for that, even after the first one. So I have my income account. So everything comes into my income account. And then whenever I pay myself, which is usually about twice a month, whenever I pay myself, I have and anyone who wants this, just reach out to me because I'm happy to share with you this formula. So I have this Excel spreadsheet formula that I dump in whatever the amount of money is. I put it in my spreadsheet and it automatically populates how much money I transfer to my profit account, how much money I pay me, how much money goes to my taxes, and how much money goes to my business expenses. So
Yeah.
therefore, the money is always there because I'm setting it aside, if you will. And then, the theory with your profit account is that you need to do something fun with that, or maybe reinvest into your business or something like that. But it has been an absolute lifesaver. I've started this the moment I started my business.
Yeah, I have one of those as well, and I'm always reinvesting. I will say this: I'm always reinvesting in the business, because it has never stayed the same. I mean, I for whatever reason, I'm not right in the head, Connie. I keep expanding. At some point, I'm either going to rule the world or I'm going to be defeated by an enclave. One of the two. Uh,
Choices.
choices. Rule the world, crushed by agony.
Right.
Yeah. But that's all right. But anyways, yeah, I wanted to catch up with you on the. I almost said it again. Wow. Okay, Midwest podcast conference. I keep wanting to say Pacific Northwest, but it's always locked in my head. But it's
Of
not.
course it
It's
is.
Midwest. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I feel like I want to close that first part. The reason why I brought up profit first is because we were talking about going to conferences, and people
Mhm.
view that as an investment, an expense, whatever it is. But the point being is, if you do know you're going to go to conferences, you plan that into your budget, right?
Oh yeah.
And then for me, I average everything out per month. And so some months might be more expensive, but if I average it, I always know that I'm sliding money over into my expense account. So then I have money to afford that when it comes time for it. So I just wanted to make it clear. That's why I brought up profit first, because we were talking about going to conferences.
Yeah, they're like, she's talking
So,
about profit. What the? Yeah. And who doesn't want to talk about profit? Really, because you start a business to, pay your bills and make money and do all that great stuff. Um, I'm not going to lie. I think we both know that the very first pay I took was 12 chocolate chunk cookies, but it was a good deal for me anyways.
right.
Yeah. But I saw the pictures from the first conference. Looked like
Yeah.
it went well.
It did. And I have to tell you, so I think all of us face this, and maybe you did, Dan, with starting the Michigan conference. It's like things have to start somewhere, right?
Oh yeah.
And so
Yeah.
my co-host Amanda and I, we held it at Janesville Performing Arts Center, which the theater holds like 600 people, and then they've got like a gallery room and different things. So we do have a goal of selling out that theater one day. So this year we set a goal of having 125 people in attendance. It was a number we pulled out of our butt. So,
Yeah.
but as it got closer to it, we're like, we're not going to hit this goal at all. And so we had a fraction of that. And we were both a little bummed out and stuff like that. But one, we had a massive learning. What
Yeah.
the hell were we thinking in scheduling this for an all-day Saturday, August 8th in Wisconsin? Like, it's summer. Like, people are running and they're playing, and it's right before school starts. So in hindsight, the date was really stupid. So for next year, it's going to be in the fall. It's going to be in October, because remember, there's learnings everywhere, right? But then
Oh
the
yeah.
second thing is, I pulled out, the NLP training, and I'm like, okay, we're doing a reframe here, because what happened was, part of our agenda is we were going to end the day with mindset and motivation, just to send people off with, this beautiful stuff. But I told Amanda, I suggested to her, I said, hey, why don't we switch that? Why don't you and I lead off with mindset and motivation? Because I actually want to utilize
Mhm.
the reality that we faced, which was, we had a goal, but we didn't, quite reach it numbers wise, but yet we're still here, because you're going to do that as a podcaster. Your first couple of episodes, like, you might have crickets, you might have one download, you might have 0 comments. Just because that happens doesn't mean you give up, right? It means you keep, moving forward. And we thought utilizing our real-time, real life experience was such a great learning opportunity for people. And then I actually wrote a LinkedIn newsletter article, and I talked about what numbers are you measuring, and are those the numbers that are most important? Because we found that the people in the room were the absolute people that needed that. And so it turned out to be an absolute fabulous day. And I just share that because we're going to have that, right? Is hypnotherapist. If you hold an event, if you hold a workshop or something like that, your first time holding it, you might not have quite met your numbers goal, but I guarantee you, if you measure beyond the butts in the seat, you'll be like, wow, those people that were here needed to be here. And then that keeps you going and going so that eventually you will reach those number of goals that you have. And so I just wanted to come out of the gate because that's a learning opportunity here for everyone listening as well, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
reality. So but yeah, it was a great conference. We had an MC who's wonderful, Mike Austin. He is he's a radio DJ, and so he knows a lot of people he just knows a lot of people, period. So he was so fabulous by one, serving as our MC and bringing his beautiful energy. But then also he introduced us to somebody named Roger Wakefield, and he's actually a podcaster. I'm sorry. He actually has a YouTube channel. But anyways, he came in via Zoom at the end, and he's got like 1.7 million followers or something like that.
Wow.
He's very well known, and he's a plumber is what he is. And so it was really great to listen to somebody who is very niched, right? A very niche market, but really he came in for the segment about how to scale your business, how to scale and monetize and things like that. So he was a great person to end our day together, and he brought just such a wealth of information.
Awesome. Yeah, I like broadcasting across well, most people say be everywhere, but I choose my audience on the website, YouTube, and a little bit on Facebook, but mostly website and YouTube, because that's where my audience is. So, because if you try to be everywhere, you're not going to be anywhere. You're going to be two people here, one people there, instead of building your audience across the podcast. Because like right now, we are broadcasting on the website, the YouTube, and on Facebook. And then, of course, it'll go out through Buzzsprout to all the others. And so you'll be famous. And it becomes a self-building thing if you're podcasting. A conference is the same way. You came to the very first Michigan conference.
Yep.
Yeah. We always joke there was 27 of us and we were in the middle of the woods.
It was a beautiful location.
Yeah. But now we're in Detroit. And just so it grows. It does grow. Even if you don't hit your numbers 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it's always continuously. That's a word. I said it. Let's shut up, Frank.
You got a new word.
Exactly. It continues to evolve and grow in everything that you do. Yeah. So it becomes fun, and then, before you know it, you've got people in the room podcasting. This one's doing a presentation. He's over there doing something. It's just going to be a lot of fun because, and I think it fits well, and I'm just going to say this, I'm continuously seeing more and more hypnotherapists and more people just getting into podcasts.
Yeah.
So, because it's not what it was. It really is a professional medium now.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we would have been remiss if we didn't use our live experience to not put it in, for the conference, for a teaching moment. But no, you're right. And that's one place where I'm at, because I've had a YouTube channel for a few years. And then when my friend had this idea to do this podcast conference, I was like, oh, well, maybe I need a podcast now. So she helped me get mine up and running and stuff. And so, I'm going to tell you, this is where I'm struggling right now a little bit, because I actually have a couple of different YouTube channels and I have my podcast. And I know that's silly. It's absolutely silly. And so I get to slow down a moment so I can catch up with myself, so I can figure out what is my exact voice? What is the name of my entity? And I think it's going to be authority activator is what it's going to be. But then how do I get to come out as streamlined as I possibly can? So that's the place that I have found myself right now, which is good.
Awesome.
But we're always learning and growing and evolving and that type of thing. Always.
Yeah. I just did I added the link so you guys could check out their website for the Midwest. Midwest. Oh, wow. I can do this, Connie. I am. Yeah. Podcast conference. So, wow. Boy, that is, I mean, one of these days I'll be a professional podcaster. I promise.
Well, and just so you know, thank you for sharing that link. And we get to update it right now. We have our testimonials that we're going to be putting out there, both written and video, and then save the date for fall. We don't have the exact date yet because our location, they're not releasing 2027 dates until I think September. So, but I do get to update it just so people know that we are doing a second annual and that type of thing. So, but I still appreciate you putting it out there just so people have it. So, because it is something that we want to hold every year in Janesville. We do have a great location for it. Just holding it at the Performing Arts Center just makes sense for us and everything. And, working with Mike, he wants to continue being our MC. And, we're just hoping that in the future, we're going to continue to have some really, big names and people who have been in the industry for a while who can really bring that firsthand experience and knowledge. This year, we broke it down into the 3 S's. So it was solidifying your foundation. So branding, your niche market, that type of thing. And then we talked about solidifying, standing out from the crowd. So we talked about, how is it that you talk into a microphone and how do you talk into a screen just staring at yourself and that type of thing. So I covered that section, right? And then the other part was scaling your business. And that's where we had Roger Wakefield come in because, again, he's a plumber and he's got a massive audience and this is his full-time job now and he's doing so well with it. So we had a lot to learn with that. So I think every year we're probably going to follow a similar format, but yet, as we do with, hypnosis conferences, have breakout sessions and different things. So we'll always continue to evolve and grow. So anyone that does have a podcast, it's a great place to be. And just the camaraderie. Well, and this from Michigan, sometimes when you start small, you're mighty, right? Because you just, you develop that beautiful core. And that's what we've developed already too.
And the opportunities for collaboration.
Yes.
Continue to grow. As a matter of fact, we're collaborating with a couple other events this year and next year. So that's kind of fun. I will be making sure to do everything I can to get to the next Midwest podcast conference. So come out there. And is this going to grow? Is it going to be 1 day, 2 day, 3, or is it just going to, are you going to, not just, but are you going to remain on the 1 day?
Yeah. So when we built out year 1, to do it effectively, we actually built out year 2.
You told me that.
Pardon me?
You told me that and I forgot.
So for 2027, it's going to be a full dayer again from like 9 to 5. But then I think in year 3, we're going to start to move towards, doing, maybe it'll be a multi-day. I guess it just depends on, where things start to shake out as we get into more of the details for year 2. So, so for 2027, it'll be 1 day again. It'll be on a Saturday. I think our 2 dates we proposed to JPAC, Janesville Performing Arts Center, were the first 2 Saturdays in October. We feel like that'll be a better time than August.
Yeah. It happens. And I think it's close enough. You guys are close. I think I can drive to the conference.
Yes. When I drove to Detroit anyway, I think it was like a 6-hour drive.
Yeah. I remember holding the very first conference and it was a mistake in October. And so you do make these mistakes.
Why was that a mistake? The drive there was gorgeous.
Well, at the time, somebody had said, I had been heard, and I kind of talked to Karen Hand, and she goes, "Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue on with the Mid America and so on and so forth." And I'm okay. Nobody said, "Oh,
Oh,
and this person's going to take it over." So I thought, well, these are the dates that this venue will give us in October. So we were really close to Mid America, and I always felt like, oh, oops, I didn't want to do that. I tried not to be on top of another event because, it's just you're like, oh man. But it actually worked out because the people that came to us used Michigan as a pit stop
yeah,
and then went on to Mid America.
right, right.
So, but as time went by, you find the dates that work for or your event, your conference. So,
Right.
yeah, and August is I think that is a tough one. People are getting back to school, like you said.
Yeah.
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 They're getting ready to do other things. They're kind of getting their houses locked up for fall or winter or wherever they're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't have to do that because I just have the one little cabin right here that we're in. Um, I don't own a summer house in the Hamptons,
Oh,
but
funny. I don't either.
yeah,
I have my beautiful hobby farm here, and I'm good with that.
you know, um, but at the same time, once you find those dates, that's when you can find that your numbers kind of grow a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it helps. It helps because everyone goes, oh, this date every year, I know I'm going to schedule this. So it becomes
Right.
even better to keep that same date. Uh,
Well, and I
and
think it's also the question about because Amanda and I just talked about this because we proposed actually 4 days in October, Friday and Saturday of 2 different weeks.
uh,
And we're like, do we want to do it on a weekend or a weekday? What do we want to do? And, that's a six of one, half dozen of another too. But we decided the people that attended this one, it seemed that they all had, the 9 to 5 job. And so we thought, well, doing it on a Saturday, it's being mindful and respectful of that. But at the same time, sometimes when you do hold it on a weekday, that's a whole nother level of commitment though too, which can be a
yeah,
really good thing. Like, people are taking time off, for us to see clients, or if somebody has that W-2 job, they're taking a vacation day. So I think dates for anything always can be a challenge, right?
yeah, they are. I like the weekends, just because no one does. They don't have to take a vacation day,
Yeah.
or well, obviously they have to take a vacation day because they're traveling. But if they're close enough and they can do the 9 to 5, they drive there, they go to the event, and then they can go home.
Right.
They don't have to have a hotel, so it becomes a little bit easier, and it helps to bolster that. But I will say that I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to say year 4, you guys are going to need a hotel. I think it's going to succeed
Well, thank
because,
you.
yeah, well, just because I know you and you tend to be more successful, because you're not me.
Oh,
Um,
stop.
you know what I'm talking about. It's just I always pick on this. It's like, so did you help that person? Oh yeah, I directed them over there. Like, I will hit you in the head with a wiffle bat.
Oh, you're funny.
uh, Go
Well, I,
ahead.
I appreciate that compliment. Thank you. I received that with love. Well, I think this is where my 30 years of corporate come in handy because I have a lot of strategic planning and project management. So and even before doing this conference with Amanda, I bring that to my solo career as a
Yeah,
hypnotherapist too. To have that strategic plan for what do I want to do next year? How do I want to grow my business? How do I want to evolve? Right now I'm finding myself actually getting more into the paid professional speaking world, and then from there getting corporate workshops from giving a 1 hour keynote or something like that. So that's been fun exploring that a bit. But I wouldn't have done that had I not spent time to lay out a strategic plan. This is what I want my next 3 years to look like. And here's my project management. Like, well, this means I have to do this and not have to get to do this and this and this and working towards that. Cause then that's how these things come to fruition. Right.
So yes, it's funny you say that, just because you'll be so proud. For the next, I just did that. I've been doing a lot of research on the conference and the guild, especially the conference, in strategic planning, and that has been my focus. How do I have a strategy, execute it? And the first 4 or 5 years of this conference, I'm going to be honest, I was just kind of winging it. I was experimenting here, experimenting there, what works, what doesn't work. Then I just thought to myself, it's never going to get to where I want it to be if I don't have a strategic plan. So it is so funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, Dan, it'll be 2 years ago this fall. I actually held a strategic planning class. A lot of our colleagues joined it. And it was a 6-week done with you course. And I actually turned it into an evergreen product that I have for sale on my website. And the feedback I got, it was great feedback from the people that attended, but I started it. The very first thing we did was, what are your business values? Or like even a conference, what are your values for this conference or your business or whatever it is? Because that is such a beautiful foundation to stand on, because then it really helps you formulate what that strategy is. And that was the feedback I got. They liked that we started there because it really had people hone in on those values that really mean a lot to somebody.
Yeah, we talked about that at Heartland Hypnosis. I think you did a presentation on it as well, and a lot of people, myself included, came away better for it. So it becomes, if you have to do, and I know that this is weird coming from me, but if you're not thinking strategically in today's business market, and I should have been doing this years ago, you're really falling behind. You're going to kind of fall to the wayside. And I know some people are like, well, I don't want to be so strategic that, I push somebody else out of the way. I'm not so concerned with that as I am with how do I strategically gain success in this. And it has become that, and that collaboration is part of that as well. But of course, let me just ask this very quick question. Near your conference center where you're at, is there a good place to get pizza?
Yes. I had to think for a second. Cheese curds. Like I'm in Wisconsin now, so it's like, cheese curds. We got lots of that good stuff.
Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to drive to the conference. Well, I'm going to need pizza. If I'm, in any kind of, podcasting, there'll be no pineapple on it. I want you to know that right now. So
rest in peace, Jim. Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
But so year 2, already planning for that. Don't have the dates yet. So is there anything you can, you've been sharing this, is there any little tidbit that would just make people go, oh, I've got to put that on my radar right now for year 2?
Yeah. Well, before I answer that, if I can say, we do have a Facebook page, and it's called the Midwest Podcast Conference. So if anyone is interested in that, you can punch that in or reach out to me, and I'm happy to invite you into that group, because that'll be probably the first place that we announce the dates and everything. But really, our goal is to continue to bring in people that are just kicking butt and taking numbers, that people can learn from that person. Like I said, Roger Wakefield, and whether you know him or not, I mean, no one knew him before, because we're not plumbers, right? But that wasn't the point. He didn't talk about plumbing to us. He talked about how he really caught his channel on fire and everything that he's been doing as a result of that. And so we plan to have so many more people like that, whether they're come in via Zoom or whether they come in person. But people just walked away with so much information from him, and it was firsthand information. And he shared with us his high highs, his low lows, that type of thing. And so people really learned from that. So we plan to have more of that moving forward. So, because Amanda and I, we don't claim to be the expert at all. And we just wanted to bring this group together because we knew the significance of it.
Awesome. So I was just hoping you would say, well, you're going to be there, Dan.
Oh, I missed it. Rewind. You haven't committed yet. That's why I haven't said it.
Okay. But so, yeah, I think it's going to be something that is going to help, everyone across the board, because a lot of people want to start a podcast, or how do I do a podcast? How do I get these high numbers? How do I do that? How do I do this? And you do have some out there, but they're so, what's the word I'm looking for? They're just really huge. I mean, it's like there's
Right.
almost fleeting. The information, it's like being at a giant fair. You see all this great stuff, but you don't really get a tremendous amount of information. It becomes a expo, if you will,
Yeah.
as opposed to an actual educating, training. Oh, that's how you do it event. So yeah, which is what I like.
I guess I'm kind of talking out loud, and I'm going to look at myself here, because on my screen I have you and I have me. I'm going to look at myself because I need this message. So I just shared how I have a strategic plan for my business and all these kind of things. However, I do not, up until now, have a strategic plan for my podcast because, and this is an excuse because, right? Because when Amanda asked me to co-host, I'm like, oh my God, I need one. So I just fired one up, and here we are. And so now I'm sitting here with a lot of different, I'll call them assets, okay? Because I do have a couple of YouTube channels. I now have my podcast. And it's not working the greatest because there's too much going on. And so I'm at a point where it's like, no, take your strategic planning and apply it to this. And this is where I'm talking out loud to me, but also I think this can benefit a lot of people. What can you talk about that you can talk about until you're blue in the face, right? That you don't have to think about too terribly much. It's just so very natural for you. What is something that's going to have a really long shelf life? I'm going to use AI for an example. I heard this the other day, and I can't credit the source because I can't remember who said it. It was probably some podcaster I listened to. No, you know what? It was in my speaking world. They were talking about this. They said, be mindful of what you speak about on stage, because you want something that you can speak about for a long time. And so what they meant was, it's okay to talk about AI, but don't have AI be your signature talk, because after a while, AI is like talking about the internet. Hey, let me tell you about this great device that you can connect to the world. Like, no one's talking about the internet anymore. And that's going to be how it's going to be with AI too.
Yeah.
So anyways, so what is it? Something that is just going to have that really long shelf life. But then also, how can you set up your systems? Because remember, systems are everything, that you can make this seamless for you. And even though if you have a virtual assistant or whatever, it still starts with you. So what I'm doing right now, actually tomorrow is going to be my third newsletter for LinkedIn, because I shared with you how I recently started a newsletter for LinkedIn. So my plan moving forward is that my newsletter that I write for LinkedIn is going to populate LinkedIn, and it's going to go to Facebook and all that stuff. But then I'm actually going to use that as my script. See the air quotes, but I'm going to use that as my script for my podcast that is also going to populate my YouTube channel. That way I'm very seamless. It's very, very strategic, because I have this one source that's going to feed and populate many different things. And then it's consistent as well.
Oh yeah. Consistency is huge. I will say this. I have, it's not hooked up anymore. I had the Elgato. I still have it. Teleprompter. I thought, oh, that would be great. I can utilize it. You know what? I can't do a script. I thought, well, I'll have talking point. I can't do it. I just
Yeah.
have to just like, here's the camera, here we go, and
Yeah.
I'll invent words as I go. So so most people, a lot of people love the teleprompters. You know, it's right there. They get on it. Everything's there. Um, Me, not so much.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't even really keep eye contact on the camera as much anymore because I'm drinking coffee. I'm looking around, and I've just become. And that's, you know, like you're very comfortable. I've seen you on with the video, and you do the same thing. People can tell when you're comfortable,
Right.
and yeah, it
Yeah.
becomes a complete package. I don't know how we got onto that. I just literally veered off into left field on that conversation.
But no, it's
Uh,
important though. Well, one thing too that I shared at the conference, and again, it goes back to numbers, right? What are we measuring? And then what do we do with that measurement anyway? And so I know a lot of times people talk about views and downloads and followers and subscribers, and all those things are great metrics. But yet the reason I started my YouTube channel was because I was finding that I was talking about this stuff a lot with clients. And like I would talk about your reticular activating system. And so
yeah.
it's like, you know what? Hey, I got a video on that. And you might know I'm an instructor to certify others in hypnosis. I have so many of my YouTube channels that are part of my library that, you know, to point the students to, just to, you know, like I'll just keep using reticular activating system as an example. It's like that video explains what it is. Go ahead and watch it. Right. And so for me, that was invaluable that I had this resource that I could point people to. And then, you know, I do get clients through my YouTube channel and then hopefully soon through my podcast as well. I just have 5 episodes so far on my podcast. But, you know, so to me, that is a big metrics that nobody knows but me.
So absolutely, and it works. Branding is important. As you saw, I always start the podcast with "We're brought to you by the Guild and the magazine," and here's this, and go there, and you know, utilize that. Don't, you know, just not. If you have a voice or a message or a platform, let people know where they can find you. So
Right.
that is huge, and those videos are great. Uh, the reticular activating system as a public servant, mine is pretty much worn out. It's gone. It's like somebody, when it's dark, I just fall face forward and I'm done. It's over. Anywho, so I think we've come up. Actually, we went over on time, guys. But we want to thank Connie Jo Holmes for being here, speaker, author, and now co-founder of the Midwest. Oh my gosh!
Podcast conference.
Thank you. Wow. So yeah, thank you for being here. And
Thank
hey,
you.
you know, yeah, I hope you guys out.